Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and in today's video let's have a look into the after landing, parking and shutdown procedures in the Airbus A310. We're picking off where we last left off, where we have just vacated the runway at our destination airport Hamburg. We have steered the airplane all the way clear from the runway, so the entire airplane is behind the HOTAS line. And now that we have vacated the runway, in real life you would taxi and do the after landing procedure at the same time, but since we are flying this single pilot in Flight Simulator, let's stop the airplane and do it from here. So, strobe lights go back into auto, the nose light is going to taxi, wing lights, landing lights, retract and off, wing lights are off, and the runway turn-off lights can go off as well, if they are not required for additional visibility. Personally, I would keep them on, because it does illuminate the area around the aircraft quite a bit more. Wing anti-ice should be turned off on the ground, the engine anti-ice should be used as needed, and may be left on for taxi. Ignition off, APU, start, so master on and starter, ground spoilers, disarmed, TCAS, back in the XPDR. In the modern days time, according to the manual, it will go directly to standby. Now that really comes down to if you are following modern days procedures, or if you want to simulate the good old 1980s, 1970s, where ground radar was not that much of a thing. Flaps and slats retract to 0, and we'll monitor the brake temperature, which we can see on the screen up here. Once the actions are complete, we're going to call for the after landing checklist. And here we go. Slats flaps are, well, retracting. Transponder, set as required. Weather radar, we forgot to turn that one off. Here we go, into the middle position. Spoilers, disarmed, and APU started. And that's the after landing checklist complete. With the checklist complete, let's go ahead and taxi the airplane to the gate. The same rules that we also used for taxi out on speed limits and how to turn your airplane, of course, apply here, just as well as they did when we taxied out back in Munich. Now here's something that I would personally do that does, however, not stand in the manual. That is turning the flight directors off after you've vacated the runway as well. Now you guys know how to taxi this airplane, so let's jump ahead and go directly to the gate where we will shut our airplane down. So we are about to enter our gate, so let's turn the turn-off lights and the taxi light off in order not to blind any of our ground staff. When turning into the gate, it's always a good idea just to look at the nav display again to check if you may have forgotten the weather radar. And when you have no parking guidance available like we do right now, see the docking system is not working. Here's what I always do. I always pick the line where I want to park, and then I kinda extend it to the left hand side, and then I'll just look slightly to the left and park my airplane so that my flight deck remains above that extended line that I have drawn for myself. So at some point like this. If you do use GSX, then you will of course have better services available. So we're on the gate, so park and brake on, APU bleed on, engine fuel levers off, no GSX, we don't need you right now. So, wait until your N2 has decreased below 20%, like now, and then we can switch our beacon light off. Check the cabin pressure, make sure that it is reading your airfield elevation and that you have 0 differential pressure and 0 vertical speed. And as soon as that is complete, we can turn off the seatbelt signs, set the fuel pumps to off. Unless you're using the APU, then keep one inner tank pump on. Probe heat off. IRS as needed, so if you have done the last flight of the day, you would shut the IRSs down now, which we have, so let's turn them off. And use the brake fans as needed. The brake fans could be used when your brake temperature is more than 100 degrees, and once they are less than 100 you can turn the brake fans off. Of course, since we have just completed the last flight of the day, we can just keep them off as well, so you can find them on the wheel page. Have a look at the temperatures. We're seeing 140 degrees in the brakes. Now that is not critically hot, so since we've just completed the last flight of the day, we are just going to keep the brake fans off. Once that decision is made, let's call for the parking checklist. APU bleed. On. Engines. Off. Differential pressure. Check 0. Lights and signs. As required. So we only have the strobe light in auto and the nav and logo light in 1. The seatbelts are off. The no smoking remains in auto. Fuel pumps. Off. We can confirm off even though we have one on since we are still operating on the APU. Window and probe heat. The probe heat is off. Let's also switch the window heat off at this point. It was not in the manual before, but since we've done the last flight of the day, it does make sense to switch them off now. And finally, park and brake and shocks. We are currently on the park and brake. And that completes our parking checklist. I would like to thank you very much for flying with us today. Hope that you have enjoyed your flight. Hope that you are enjoying your A310 flights. As always, if you have a question, please ask them in the comments below the video. And for now, I would like to thank you very much for flying with us. Wish you a lot of fun flying the A310. If you want to support the channel, like, comment and subscribe. And if you really love what I'm doing, I would be very grateful for a small donation using the Buy Me a Coffee link that you can find in the video description below. Thank you very much for joining, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.